Hello. This short video will explain our first lab or first practical class in our cardio cardio class. And this is simply for you to get a feeling, get an idea of different exercise intensities. And here we are going to measure exercise intensity as a function of heart rate. So you'll be taking 15-second pulses and multiplying those by 4 to get beats per minute. And you're going to exercise at different percents of your maximum heart rate. And even though the ACSM book has different equations to determine or estimate an age predicted maximum heart rate, we are still going to use the simple equation of 220 minus age. So it's not maybe the best equation for all age groups, and it's maybe not the perfect equation, but it's so easy to remember, and it's one that is commonly used. So if you look at bullet points number 1 and 2, here's Joan, she's 43, so it's simply 220 minus 43, so her age predicted maximum heart rate would be 177. And then we're going to ask you to exercise at different exercise intensities. And so what I would like you to do, if we go over to the second page of this lab, is to at least exercise at light, moderate, and vigorous. So you're just going to go take a run, or in lab we will go take a run, and you're just going to run at something that you consider as light, then something that you consider that is moderate, and then something that you consider is vigorous. And under actually this column and this column are actually going to be identical. So if you go take a light run, at the end of that short light run, feel for your pulse, take a 15-second pulse, multiply by 4, and write in those beats per minute. And it'll be the same thing over on this column. So these two columns are actually identical. But then we're going to see how close that actual heart rate was to your predicted heart rate or your predicted target zone. So there's two ways we want to calculate these out. One way is simply a percent of heart rate max. So if you know your heart rate max, here was Joan over here of 220 minus age, and she wants to work out at a given percent, you just multiply 177 times 0.6, for example, to be at 60%. And let me show you this next picture that I used myself. And so these were notes. And if I want to work out at light exercise, and according to light exercise, and I'll show you the table out of chapter 6, if I want to work out at light exercise, the middle of that range is about 60% of heart rate max. So if I want to work out light, I'm 62 years old, so 220 minus 62. My max heart rate is 158. 158 times 0.6, so my heart rate should be about 95 beats per minute. So you then, under percent heart rate max, you would then type in what the predicted would be for your age at light, moderate, and vigorous. And if you want to do very light or near max, you can as well. And then let's see, how close was this actual to this target zone. The next equation that we want to use is shown up here at the top of this page. And that is using the Karvonen or heart rate reserve method. And HRR or heart rate reserve, you're just subtracting out rest. So it's max minus rest times an intensity, and then rest is added back to that equation. So I'll go back to my notes, and here's myself again. So at the top was light, at the bottom is light, but using the heart rate reserve method. So it's my max minus my rest times the percent, and then I cut it off, and then rest is added back to that. So my max was 158, and my rest is 66, so I'm relatively fit for my age. So that's a relatively low resting heart rate. So 158 minus 66. That then is all multiplied by 0.35. So if we look up at the top, a light exercise using heart rate reserve method is 35%. And then 66, which is my rest, is added back to all of this. So 158 minus 66 is 92 times 0.35, added 66 is added back. So I get 98 beats per minute. So just for me and my resting heart rate and my age, these two numbers are actually pretty close, 95 and 98. And you would actually sort of expect that. What is nice about the heart rate reserve is that it gives you additional information. You know that this person's you know what this person's resting heart rate is. And for an aerobically person, it's going to be a little bit lower. For a sedentary person, it's going to be higher. A resting heart rate would be higher. So the heart rate reserve method is beneficial. It gives you a little bit more information about the fitness of your client, the fitness of the individual. So then you're going to put under here, this first column, the percent heart rate reserve and that target range. And for your age group and your resting heart rate, you'll type out what those are. And I gave you numbers of light exercise. So let's go to the table 6.1. So it's right at the beginning of chapter 6. And I copied this out of the book, and so it's a little bit fuzzy. But let's just look at the first, second, and third columns. So here are the adjectives. Here are the descriptors of how hard this exercise is. So there's light, for example. And using the heart rate reserve method, the range is 30 to 39%. Using the percent heart rate max method, that's 57 to 63%. And there's moderate of 40 to 59, 64 to 76. Vigorous is 60 to 89, and 77 to 95. And you can look at the other values. So you're going to calculate these out for your age group, and you're all, about 20, 21, 22. So all will have similar age predicted max heart rates. Yeah, your resting heart rates may be different, so this heart rate reserve method may be different. You're going to complete this lab, type in these numbers, make sure you complete at least a light, moderate, and vigorous run. This is a Word document that has been posted in our lab assignment. And so upload this lab into Blackboard, and this will be our first practical lab experience.